I mentioned the last few days about the notion of Kedusha, that Kedusha is achieved through the power of the Tzibor. That's why it is said in Chazar Sashatz, in what Rabbi Soloveitchik called Tfilas HaTzibor. That's why the idea of Kedoshim Tiyu is called Adas B'nai Yisrael. And I would like to add one more thought, that the idea of Kedusha is not only in when we do it, when we say it, and in the commandment of Kedusha, but actually in the words of Kedusha itself. We know that as we get to Kedusha in davening, we say, Nekadesh Shemcha Ba'olam, and before we can proclaim Kadosh, 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 those very, very important few words of Kedusha, where we really achieve that level of Kedusha, we turn to the right and we turn to the left. Karazeh El Zeva Amar. Why do we do that? Rav Wolbe explains the following. We know that the Arizal believed that before one davens, one should fulfill the mitzvah of V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. They should believe in their heart, or they should verbalize this notion that we are all together, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, that we love, we have care, devotion, commitment, responsibility towards one another in the community and towards each other. Why is that? Well, if I'm going to come to davening, and personally, I'm going to ask God for all of the things that I need, refuah and geula and parnasa, and whatever it may be that day. And Hashem is going to look down and say, how do you deal with the people around you? How can you come to ask me for things when together you aren't okay? We know that when it comes to Yom Narayim, this has a huge role. There is a huge emphasis played on the ability to come together. And when we come together, V'yasu chulam aguda achas, as the Ramchal explains, which means that we might be different parts, when we come together, then we can approach God, then we can talk to Hashem. So the Arizal said, before you daven, before you get into your personal needs, desires, and wants, make sure to say V'ahavta l'reachak and to believe it, and then go into davening. Explains Rav Wolbe. That's exactly what we do in Kedusha. That before we get to Kadosh, 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 the most holiest, most important words in davening, we turn V'karazeh El Zeh V'omar. I turn to my right, I turn to my left, and I make sure that I'm good. There's Achdus and Shalom B'neiim. Of course, it means we could disagree, but it means a lot of things. But there is Achdus, there is an understanding that we're part of a community. That if I want to be Mekadesh Hashem in this world, Mekadesh Hashemcha Ba'olam, Kishem Shemak Tishem Oso B'Shvei Marom, it has to be done through a power of Achdus, through a power of Shalom, through V'karozeh Al Zeh V'amar, and then we can proclaim Kadosh, Kadosh.